Today I'm going to be travelling India's most beautiful scenic train journey, running from Mumbai to Kochi, spending over 21 hours along the Arabian Sea. I'll be showing you around my private first class cabin and reviewing the in-room dining service. This is going to be a spectacular journey along India's tropical coastline, with many surprises along the way. So join me as I ride down the Konkan railway. Hello and welcome back to another video. Today I'm here in Mumbai and I'm going to be catching the Duronto Express down to Kochi. I'll be travelling the beautiful Konkan railway for this journey in first class AC, so let's go. This is Mumbai's Lokmanya Tilak Terminus, one of the Indian megacity's 5 terminal stations. Formerly known as Kurla, the station was renamed in 1999 after Bal Gangadhar Tilak, an Indian historical figure and the first leader of the independence movement. Like many stations in India, security checks are located at the entrance to the station. However, these were not in use today. My favourite feature of the station has to be this wall sculpture, which highlights Mumbai's historic main station. Not a bad job if you ask me. So my train today will be number 12223, the Duronto Express departing at 20:50 for Ernakulam Junction. We'll get to the train itself shortly, but first let's take a look around the station. The main hall consists of ticket counters, selling both reserved and unreserved tickets. Though believe me, you're going to want to pre-book long in advance if you want a good spot. The low level of the station also features a cloakroom, but by far the majority of the space is used for sitting or lying down. Despite the best efforts of the solitary working fan, the temperature in the station was overpoweringly hot, making it pretty unpleasant. Thankfully, air-conditioned dorms and rooms are available for an added fee on the high level of the station. You can also find the Jan Ahar restaurant, which offers local cuisine, though as I've got meals waiting for me on board, I decided not to visit. Anyway, let's head over to the train that will be my home for the next 21 hours. As the Konkan railway we'll be travelling on today is fully electrified, I was expecting to have one of these powerful electric locomotives for the journey. However, instead what was waiting for me was a WDP 4-D diesel locomotive. This example, number 40156, was built at Varanasi Diesel Locomotive Works in 2013. The train is one of Indian Railway's Duronto Express services, the name referring to speedster in Bengali. This route runs twice a week, providing the fastest journey between central Mumbai and Kochi, certainly living up to its name. 4 classes of travel are available on the Duronto Express, starting with non-aircon sleeper. This is a very cheap option, but don't expect much comfort or privacy here. Most of the train is 3-tier AC and 2-tier AC accommodation, consisting of open-plan bunks. 3-tier AC has 3 bunks, while 2-tier AC has 2 bunks, and sometimes even privacy curtains. Finally, this is AC First Class, by far the best way to travel on Indian railways. AC First Class is a cut above the rest of the train, having individual rooms accessed from the corridor. Compartments are available in 2 types, those with 4 beds and those with 2. My biggest problem with Indian Railways has to be the bed allocation. This is my ticket, and as you can see, there's no bed number displayed. That's because your space is only assigned once ticket sales have closed, 4 hours before departure. I hate this system. It means you only find out whether you'll be having a private or social journey just before you leave. It certainly doesn't feel very first class to me. Anyway, as we depart Mumbai's Lokmanya Tilak terminus on time at 20:50, it's time to take a look at today's route. We'll be riding along most of India's western coast as we head down the famously beautiful Konkan railway through Goa, Mangaluru and Kerala. The journey is scheduled to take 21 hours and 20 minutes to cover the 1,294 kilometres, or about 804 miles. With little to see at this hour, I'll show you around my room before heading to bed for tomorrow's scenic views. But first, it's time for an evening meal. This consisted of some bread, rice, and a couple of curry dishes. It also features some dahi, an Indian curd yogurt. The meal was served at around 10 PM, and as I'd already had a light meal earlier in the evening, I wasn't too hungry. My appetite vanished altogether once I discovered this unwelcome surprise. With that disappointment out of the way, it's time to look around this private room for two. The room has 2 bunks, with them being stacked upon one another. The upper bunk is reached via a tiny staircase located next to the door. During waking hours, the lower bunk can be used for sitting, which was fairly comfortable. Beneath this, you can find an empty space, perfect for storing your luggage. Smaller items can be placed in the recess beneath the staircase, or in the net for the upper bunk. But beware, despite the doors having 2 locks, it's always a good idea to keep your valuables on your person, unless of course you have a private room. Sometime after dinner, a carriage attendant comes round and prepares your bedding. The lower bunk can be deployed by folding down the backrest, resulting in a flat surface and more room. The bed was well sized and clean. As for comfort, the pillow and bed itself were both reasonably comfortable, though not the best I've had on a train. Controls for the lighting can be found above the window, with 2 fluorescent room lights as well as 1 night light. This is also where you can find the call bell for the carriage attendant, and perhaps most importantly on a 21-hour trip, 2 power sockets compatible with Indian and European style plugs. Next to this, there's a mirror, with a storage rack located above. Finally, there's this metal thing attached to the ceiling. If I'm honest, I have no idea what this is. So if you do know, then please tell me in the comments. Anyway, as it's now already 11:30, it's time for bed. After around 8 hours of on and off sleep, I awake to a spectacular sunrise, somewhere in the Karnataka region of India. It was certainly worth waking up to see this amazing view of the country, not at all far from the Malabar coast on the Arabian Sea. Still feeling a little sleepy, I decided to head to the end of the carriage to try and freshen up a little bit. Here you can find a sink located next to the toilets. I couldn't quite figure it out though, so why not try the next best option? Most Indian Railways carriages have fully manual doors, meaning no motors, no locks, or anything. This allows for an unparalleled view of this beautiful part of the world, made all the more incredible by the vibrant sunrise. It was also nice to catch a bit of a breeze, after having spent all night in the air-conditioned sleeper compartment. This part of the railway network is incredible from an engineering point of view too, with a total of 92 tunnels. Perhaps even more impressive is the number of bridges, with the route having over 2,000 of them. The route itself is so brutal that during the monsoon season of mid-June until the end of October, a special timetable operates. This accounts for the increased possibility of sinkholes and landslides due to the relative instability of the coastal region's terrain. At this point, we pass through Kawar station, just one of the 191 stations our route takes us through. This is when I realised just how late the train was, this service being due through at 06:40. As it's now 8 o'clock in the morning, that makes us 1 hour and 20 minutes late. But I guess on the plus side, this gave me more time to appreciate the scenery. As the views keep rolling by, it's soon time to head back to the compartment for breakfast service. Like with my meal last night, this was included as an optional extra in the ticket price. Breakfast consisted of an omelette with chips and peas. This was served alongside a bowl of cornflakes and a banana, as well as 2 slices of bread with butter and jam. Right after breakfast is delivered, you get a tea set with sugar and milk. With the sunrise having finished and breakfast complete, I'm now free to fully enjoy the vivid colours of this beautiful region. Maximum speed for today's journey is just 110 km/h, though personally I think this is more than enough as you get to enjoy the tropical scenery en route. And who could say no to that? At various points throughout the journey, our train goes to the side to overtake a rake of freight wagons. These wagons look almost abandoned, so it was strange to see them parked up at random. This is the Konkan Railway's Ro-Ro service. First started as an experiment in 1999, the service has been overwhelmingly popular, thanks to allowing drivers to avoid the challenging Western Ghats mountain range. The next station we pass is Nantikur, where interestingly the locals seem to be setting fire to the bushes. Seeing a live fire right next to the track was a big surprise for me, as back in the UK, something like this would easily cancel all trains until it was extinguished. As the time nears 11 o'clock, we're fast approaching Mangaluru. Once we get there, I'll show you around the somewhat questionable shower facilities on board, and also have a look at what's on offer for lunch. At this point, the Konkan Railway officially ends, but don't worry, there's still a lot more incredible scenery to see. This is Mangaluru Junction, our third stop on the journey, with the other two being during the night. Duronto Express services are some of the fastest on Indian railways, with only stops at major cities en route being allowed. They also enjoy some of the highest priority on the network, with only Rajdhani and Shatabdi trains being considered more important. We arrive at Mangaluru Junction about 95 minutes late. This is also the point where the ingredients for lunch service are loaded into the buffet car. The city itself is growing rapidly, no doubt in part thanks to its seaport, which is one of the largest in India, as well as being a major centre of education and healthcare in the region. While at the station, be sure to step onto the platform, where no doubt someone will soon be along to sell you tea, coffee or various snacks. I got a pot of assorted fruit and a cup of tea for a total of 40 Indian rupees. Immediately on departure, we pass over the mouth of the Nedravati River. At this point, all passengers are given a local newspaper, the Deccan Herald being focused on the Karnataka region. This is followed by a starter for today's lunch, namely some tomato soup and croutons with a banana. While this is happening, we pass by Bekal Fort Station, and it's here that we catch our first glimpse of the Arabian Sea, not far from the tracks. There's also some coastal resorts here, as well as a single camel, for some reason. The main lunch course is served, and it's a repeat of what we had last night, featuring bread, rice, 2 curry dishes, and Indian curd yogurt. Feeling a little hungrier and double checking for any stray hairs, I actually enjoyed this meal. However, for a Western foreigner like me, it was a little bit spicy. For dessert, you're served a single bowl of this very sweet tasting treat. If you know what it is, leave a comment. As I mentioned earlier, the entire route is fitted with overhead wires. Most trains are already hauled by powerful electric locomotives, such as this service. It's definitely well needed when you see how long the trains are. Anyway, after so long on the Iron Road, I thought it would be a good idea to take a shower. This is a feature exclusive to first class AC, so I was keen to give it a go. Unfortunately, it was a bit of a letdown, being less of a shower and more just a handheld water gun. No matter what I tried, I couldn't get any more than a cold dribble. As for the toilet, each carriage has 3, of which some are Western style and some squat style. This was reasonably clean, and had soap bolted to the wall. Definitely no chance of that going missing. The water was also working fine, but the very limited toilet paper was soggy. I'd advise to always bring your own. We are now in the region of Kerala, which is one of India's most developed areas when measured by the Human Development Index. Kerala has a very high level of education among its population, and also benefits from good public health infrastructure, with a higher life expectancy than any other region. As we pass through Vadakara, this indicates we're now around 5 hours from Kochi, which is Kerala's third biggest city, behind the capital of Thiruvananthapuram and our next station, Kozhikode. Crossing the bridge over the river Korapuya marks our entry to the Kozhikode city area. This will be our first stop in Kerala. Kozhikode is also known as Calicut, which is the city's English name. I really liked the main station here. Its two main towers gave the otherwise standard station building a grand design. A brief 5-minute stop is made at our penultimate station call before we run non-stop to Kochi. That is, of course, except a technical stop at Shoranur Junction, for operational reasons. This section of line was opened in the early 1900s as a meter gauge railway when the region was under British rule. Many telltale signs exist as a reminder of this history, with the guard of my train pointing out the roof of the station, clearly displaying that it's from Birmingham, England. We continue our journey across a bridge, marking the entry of the Trivandrum division of the Southern Railway. Much of the journey's remainder is spent running along these interesting split-level tracks, with each direction alternating in height at various points. Just before 5 PM, the final meal is served. This consists of 2 packaged vegetable assortments, a spicy baked treat, a sandwich, and another one of those ball things. I can't say this was the most fulfilling meal I had on my travels through India, but the journey was nearly over at this point. So now on to how much this journey cost. A ticket in first class AC from Mumbai to Kochi costs a total of 5,745 Indian rupees, but as I bought 2 tickets to have the room to myself, it cost double this. Considering the impressive distance covered and the included meals, I think this is pretty great value for money. Though if you are after a real bargain, then you can travel in non-aircon sleeper class, which costs just over 1,000 rupees, a fifth of what I paid for a ticket in first AC, though this won't be nearly as comfortable. The epic journey on the Duronto Express is nearly over, with the elevated Kochi Metro coming into view. Today comes to a close just as spectacularly as it begun, with an incredible hazy orange sunset. This has been an incredible journey, with the beautiful scenery of the Konkan Railway and the line down India's western coastline providing more than enough entertainment for all waking hours. Generally, cleanliness and comfort were to a good standard, with the exception of the disappointing shower and finding a hair in my meal. The diesel locomotive hauling the train has certainly been working hard too, as we arrive into Ernakulam Junction now just 40 minutes late, making up over an hour of delay. As always, let me know in the comments what you thought of India's Duronto Express along the beautiful Konkan Railway, and if you liked this video, then you'll love my video on India's fastest ever train, the Gatiman Express, which you can watch by clicking up here.